So this past weekend we went over to BitSummit in Kyoto, and it's the 6th year, but it's Source Gaming's 3rd year of going to that. And we checked out a ton of games, and we also did a lot of interviews. So please go ahead and remember to subscribe and stay tuned for more news straight from the source. Joining me on this adventure to BitSummit was Nirbion.
Hey, greetings.
Yeah, so this is our first discussion that we're doing actually in person.
Yes, we never met before, and
Yeah, and I let him in my house for some reason.
for some reason, yeah, still crazy.
The Master of Bear, he joined us. So the three of us, we were able to do a lot of coverage. So again, please stay tuned for all of that while we get things ready behind the scenes. But while we're preparing all that, we want to talk about the games, because what's BitSummit without the games, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be just a nice meet-up at least.
We're not going to be going over these in any order. We'll just be listing them as we think of them. So the first game that I really want to talk about is Away. The developer behind Away described it as a feel-good first-person shooter. And let me tell you, that game looks fantastic.
Yes, the art style is very cute and very... Yeah, it looks like a really fun shonen anime. First with the cutscenes and gameplay, it's in the first-person perspective.
Yep. And the dialogue in the game was pretty funny. Like at the beginning of the demo or the game, I turned around and looked in the bathroom. I was exploring the bathroom and I found a frog in the toilet. He gave me a critical hit stone that allowed me to hit enemies and do more damage. And I'm waiting for the game to come out on the Switch very soon.
Yes, it's also, yeah, really fun game. And what we also tried out is Dash.
Yep.
A rhythm-based platformer, I think. No, not really platformer.
It's like a almost like an endless runner, but the levels have a set time limit or set song, and you're tapping either on the left side or the right side of the screen in order to jump up and attack enemies, or either that to attack the enemies on the ground, running through the level trying to get a high score. It's
basically Harmonite from Game Freaks, but with a much more cute aesthetics and more anime style and more anime songs.
Some of those levels in that game are quite difficult, actually.
I don't think they're difficult. It was just hard for us to understand their control scheme because it was sometimes not really clear what you have to do.
Yeah, I would say the playing it on the touchscreen actually was a lot better experience.
Yeah.
If you play it with a controller, at least the demo that we tried, it wasn't fully ready.
It wasn't. No, I think they still need to make some touch up at the button controls.
Yeah, the company that's working on the port or is bringing it to the Switch is XD. They're a Chinese publisher. They're working on Dash, Icy, and Juicy Realm, which all three all come into the Switch.
Yes, and we all played.
Talking to the developers, it's their first time dealing with the Switch, so they're still working out some kinks. We played Juicy Realm, which is another game by them, and that was also a really cute art style, really fun, really hectic at times.
Yes, but the thing with Juicy Realm is you have to keep it slow. I mean, when I played it first, I really was bad. When Push and me were playing it, I killed him even.
Yeah, he blew me up. Like after I let him in my house and everything.
Yeah, this is how I repay everything.
Yeah.
No, but as soon as I made it a little bit slower for me, watch over the enemies more.
Yeah,
it was much better, and I think that this is kind of a game where you have to be a little bit more cautious about your surroundings.
Yeah, and I think we were the only people that actually played that co-op, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, because on the show floor there's only single player. But like we got pretty lucky. We were talking with the developers before the event even started, and kind of got an exclusive playthrough.
Yes.
We also have an interview with the Way developers and Juicy Realm. I'll try to mention if we have interviews with them or not, so that way you guys can remember that. There's a game that I'm really excited about is Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. It was by Nippon Ichi. We also have an interview with them. That game looks fantastic. It looks just like a storybook.
Yes, just like coming out from a very oldish child book and it has a big emphasis of story.
Yeah.
I mean, sadly, I can't talk much about it because it was in Japanese.
Like the basic premise of the game is that there is a princess who can turn into a monster, and there's a prince who's completely blind. And I'm guessing that the prince does not realize that she can turn into the monster because every time you try to transform into a monster near the prince, she won't do it. So it's about balancing the skills of the monster form and her human form to try to guide the prince all the way to the end of the level. A little bit like a puzzle game. So,
yes, looks really puzzle based.
Yeah. So we have with a little bit of action, I guess, as the monster form. But we'll have that interview, and you can learn more about that game pretty soon. So another game that we talked a lot about was She Remembered Caterpillars.
Yes, it's
also a puzzle game.
It's also a puzzle game. There were a lot of puzzle games at BitSummit, and it's also you're controlling several caterpillars.
Yep. So like you're trying to cross them over the paths, depending on the color and the shape, I think, or just maybe
symbol. More about the symbol.
Symbol, yeah. Maybe on the color. That's how you try to complete some of the levels, and the levels can get pretty difficult towards the end. Like
yes, it was already difficult at the middle for me. I mean, when I played it, I tried to cross all of them, and then said, "Okay, push. You should do it now."
Yeah. And we were talking with the developer, and they said that it's already out on Steam, so it's not so much of a surprise. But there's a lot of interesting mechanics that can come out in the later levels.
It has touch controls on Switch, and it's honestly very perfect for Switch because you can take your time. You have more.
I think the touch controls for She Remembered Caterpillars was the best way to control that game, because it was just very easy to select the creature that you wanted and to direct them on where to go.
Yes, I mean, at the beginning it was confusing to make it per button controls, and with touchscreen it was much better, much easier.
Yeah. Another game that we got to check out quite a bit was Cosmo Defender, and that's another that's a multiplayer game for the Switch, where you're either competing or cooperating with other players to try to
destroy your houses,
destroy the enemies first and foremost, destroy the enemies in the level, and then if it's competitive, then you're trying to destroy the other players. But if the other players have their houses, then they can respawn.
Yeah, okay, it's true. I mean, I had a difficult time at the beginning to understand this game.
Yeah. We got to play that with Egotaku from Nintendo Life, and also the developer, and it was a very interesting. We checked out I think like 4 or 5 levels, and that game is still in development, but it's already looking pretty strong.
It looks like a really fun multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
It needs some balance work, because I always, to be very honest, I always pick the green character because I knew that's the strongest one. So I cheaped my 8.
So I picked the yellow one because I was like, like my avatar, it's yellow. so I picked the worst character. That's why I lost so much. Another game that we checked out that we're very excited for is Semblance.
Yes.
Semblance is like the first African IP that's on a Nintendo console.
African.
No, I think African.
Really?
I think it's all of Africa. Okay. I think that's what they're claiming. It looks absolutely fantastic. It looks very gorgeous. The game handles it's like already done, it feels like.
It feels very close to being finalized. And it's a game about a character that can morph, squeeze, and change its own shapes. And we talked with the developers, and he described it as the first platformer game about platforming. Basically,
you're trying to run into the platforms to try to make them bigger or smaller to block the lasers. It's quite a bit of a puzzle game, puzzle platformer. I think is the perfect way to explain it.
Yes.
We also have an interview with them that's coming out very soon. Another one that we got to talk quite a bit with is Matt Cap.
And he showed for not the first time, but he presented Astala.
Yeah.
And that's very close to being a Metroidvania.
Yep. You have like the 3 characters that you can change. Yep. I played mainly as the mage. I don't know who you played as.
I mean, the mage was the best one because he can throw projectiles.
Yep.
And that was the best one.
Yeah, because then you didn't get hit as much.
Yes. And I tried out different characters.
Yeah.
Like the knight, which was just, I didn't find something special about the knight, but he probably has a more
health maybe,
or more attacks.
Yeah, more damage. Yeah.
And the arrow.
Yep.
Girl, she doesn't. She has also protect strike, but it's very slow.
Yep.
But she can perform a wall jump sometimes. I sometimes got it and sometimes it didn't work, but it was very appealing,
Yep.
even from the graphics art style. I mean, we have a lot of indie games that have a pixel art style game.
Yeah.
And a lot of games are overdoing it with the pixel art, like giving it so many animation frames. And this is fine, this is cool. But Astrolor is really capturing the NES spirit, the limitation of what the NES games were back then, and for me personally, that was really nice and really appealing, and I'm really looking forward to Astrolor.
Yeah. Another game that we checked out was Pocket Rumble, or I should say, I checked it out. I don't think you got a chance to play
No,
it.
I didn't have a chance, but I looked over you playing it.
It's like a Neo Geo fighter. And
Neo Geo Pocket Fighter.
Neo Geo Pocket Fighter, that's hence the name. I was actually doing all the training missions to see what kind of mechanics they had in it, and it's very detailed. Like, it's surprisingly like deep for a game that has only two buttons to attack. Like, they have the low and high, but then like you can combine it with hold presses and stuff like that, depending on how long you hold the direction, how long you hold the button. Can do different attacks and specials, and it's surprisingly deep.
And it looks from a pixel art side. I mean, I already talked about limitation of the NES era, and this game took more the limitation of the Neo Geo Pocket era, and it looked from the art style very unique and very special.
Yeah,
I'm also looking forward to it.
Well, from one fighting game to the next, Blade Strangers. That's a game that I think a lot of people are very excited for.
Yes, it's basically the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 of indie games.
Yeah, so basically the game has a lot of Nicholas characters, and it's a crossover fighting game that is also very simple to play. It was very easy to just start doing combos and everything like that. I was very surprised about that. And the character selection, I think, is absolutely fantastic. Like, you have Isaac, you have Quote, Shovel Knight, you have Gunvolt.
Yes.
And
we also talked with the developers of
yes,
Blade Strangers.
The developers from behind Studio Saizensen. That's a really difficult name to say.
Especially for me.
Saizensen. Very funny name, I like it. But we'll have an interview with them very soon. I think we're probably one of the only few to interview them.
Yes, because they could only do it in Japanese, so
luckily I was there.
Yes, luckily.
Then we have Crystal Crisis, which is another crossover game, but it's not quite a fighting game, it's a puzzle fighter game.
Yes, and what for me was really shocking was the inclusion of, again, Isaac.
Yep.
And other Nicholas characters, not Nicholas, but also like Quote from Cave Story, but Tetsuka Productions characters, like Astro Boy, Blackjack, and that was, I mean, when I first saw the poster of it, I just thought, wait a second.
Yeah.
Did they cheat? Did they really just group Astro Boy with Isaac together?
Yeah, it's insane to see Astro Boy with Cave Story, you know?
Yes.
Like, it's so amazing. And we played that for a little bit. I played it for actually quite a bit on the second day before the show floor opened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was fun. It's a puzzle game where you're trying to line up the colors, but they won't explode until you use a crystal, hence the name Crystal Crisis. So you're trying to line up the crystals so that way it maximizes the most amount of crystals to destroy, and then once a gauge fills up, then you're using that to either attack or defend your puzzle lane, I should say, from the other person. And each character has like their own special abilities. Looks like they're going to have quite a bit of characters, so stay tuned for more information about that. Going on a little bit of a stranger path, it's Blackbird from Onion Games. We also have an interview coming from Kimura-san, and that game it was actually a blast to play. Like,
I didn't get a chance to play it at the booth, but I saw some of the footage which was presented on the BitSummit website, and it was really dark and really strange, but I love this kind of strangeness. talk about the story.
Yeah, so basically, like, the girl, it looks like she dies at the beginning, and then, like, some guy turns her into a blackbird, and then it turns into a shoot 'em up. It's just completely out there, and
I mean, you're not expecting a shooting game from such a heavy story.
yeah.
And it correct me. Have you ever played Fantasy Zone from Sega?
No, I haven't.
I mean, I hope I'm not right, because it's really difficult to say, oh yeah, it reminded me of Fantasy Zone when I didn't play it properly. But it has a lot of aspects, like going back and forth. You could go to the right and
Yep.
to the left.
You're also trying to destroy the towers to collect crystals to upgrade your character.
That's really like Fantasy Zone.
Yep.
But with a more strange, dark European feeling.
Yeah. Well, another game that I think we checked out was Battleloon. It's a mix of battle and balloon, and just like the name suggests, you're going around and you're trying to push your friends or your enemies into spikes so that way you can win. And that game was a blast to play. It's a great multiplayer game, and like it's such a natural fit on the Switch, I feel.
Yes, I mean the Switch is always a natural fit for multiplayer games.
Yeah.
With an Joy-Con system, and yes.
Well, the next two games that we want to talk about are from Indie Crates. They were just announced at the show. There's Curse of the Moon, as well as...
Bloodstone, Curse of the Moon.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Bloodstained.
Bloodstained.
Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. And there's also Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger 9, I guess. Or EX. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But that those games were made by Indie Crates, and we have a full interview with them. But we also checked those out on the show floor. So you played Curse of the Moon.
Yes, and I can say with a lot of confidence, it's basically classic Castlevania. You have 3 different characters you can switch on the go, also always, who have different abilities, like different weapons, more low range projectiles, and special attacks like turning into a bat or making yourself an illusion who can attack, and it really feels like Castlevania.
Yeah.
Like like a lot, and it's really fun to play it.
Yeah.
It's also surprisingly more responsive. I mean, the Castlevania games, jumping, it's still there. That awkward jump ability that you can't change position mid-air.
And then I got a chance to play the new Gunvolt game, and it plays very similar to how Copen played in Gunvolt 2. Like, he had the same abilities, he still used the bullet system and everything like that. The boss fight was pretty interesting, but it was a very short demo, and I think they're still in very early production. Yes. So we'll see how that game shapes up. The next game that we checked out was Ikagura, which was also by Nicholas.
Yeah, I think it's straight port from the arcade version.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Like, they had the vertical screen, and it really does look amazing still. And we played
as well as before.
Yeah, we played the co-op, which I think was that in the original version? I don't remember.
Ooh, I think it. I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
I think it was, but at the same time, it could be very well not.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I remember I owned Ikagura as a kid, and maybe I didn't have anyone to play with, so I only played single player. But that game still looks exactly the same. It runs incredibly well. They have online leaderboards and everything like that, which is fantastic. We also checked out a little bit of Save Me Mr. Taco, which was available to play as the previous 2 years, and we have a bunch of interviews with Chris over on that, and the game looks fantastic. I'm really excited for it.
I really wanted to play it actually, but sadly the next day after Saturday was a really big day, or really stressful for us, and I wanted to take it out on Sunday, and sadly they were changing the booth and it wasn't available to play it anymore.
Yeah, basically we were there to play games and interview people. We have like I think over 15 interviews that now we have to transcribe or release the audio, and we'll be working on that.
Right away.
The next thing is Fight Night.
Yes, I played that game.
Yeah, I played it at Tokyo Game Show, and it looked very similar. The demo looked very similar.
Yes, and it's basically, how should we? I mean, I'm really bad at describing
It's like was it like Terra Boxer?
Terra Boxer, yes, from the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, Terra Boxer from the Virtual Boy, mixed with like I feel like Doom almost.
Yes, with Doom, with more, with a control screen a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to move forward and punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fight. You're like picking fights with everyone. Like there's like the tutorial guy, and you're just like, fight me, and then he's like, okay, I guess so. Like,
I didn't understood anything. I didn't knew that was a tutorial guy.
Yeah.
It's just okay. That's the guy. I get punched. Let's go.
You're just he was like punching everyone. Another game that we played from Dangen was Zenbound 2, which is a sequel to the original Zenbound, and basically you're trying to move a rope around an object by rotating the controller, like you're using the actual Joy-Con in this case, and you're trying to move the rope around and try to cover as much area of the object as much as possible with the rope, and then it mixes it up in the later levels by like having you try to string the rope around like nails and stuff like that, and really weird and strange objects. Like the one that I saw was like a staircase, and
okay.
The first level was the Joy-Con, which was nice because
yeah,
it helped you orient yourself. We also got to check out Tales of Ronin, but not really. We like saw people play it, but unfortunately we didn't have enough time to play it. But we have an interview with a developer on the Tales of Ronin, because that's a game that we're both really excited to play.
Yes, because it looks so beautiful. It looks, from the art style, own hand drawn with a Japanese style of hand brushes and wow, it looks really good in motion and in animation, and we talked a lot about that, and yeah, look forward to it.
A game that I played was Travis Strikes Again. You might have heard of that.
Maybe.
We also have an interview with Goichi Suda coming out very soon, and I think I'm one of the only people to play the English demo, because I played by accident.
I think you weren't supposed to play it in English.
I think I wasn't supposed to play it,
which explains why we got an extra message.
Yeah.
At the end.
With Travis Strikes Again, like the game is, I'm sure you guys are well aware, it's a above camera type of system, and it's more arcadey feeling this time around than it is ever before, and lots of interesting dialogue in that game.
Yeah, the game gets broken a lot in the dialogue, and
and we got to play through the boss fight and everything. Basically, as soon as I saw the setup for Travis Strikes Again finished, I immediately went over and bugged the Nintendo people to let me play. I'm very excited about that game, and I hope you guys look forward to the interview, because we have a lot of juicy information that's coming out. Another game that was on a Nintendo booth was the Nippon Marathon, which was just really weird. Like, I didn't really like it, to be honest. Like, they had the character that I picked was the old man in the skirt. Because, I mean, what other choice was there?
Yes, I mean, there was not really. I mean, at first we need to describe Nippon Marathon, because I think a lot of people don't know what kind of
I don't know if you can describe it. Like, it's just like, you're just like running as much as you can.
It looks like, actually like those, Takeshi's Castle. Yeah, so
a little bit like that, yeah.
Like running in a obstacle course.
Yep.
And
be
there's wacky as possible.
There's like random events, like a dog will start chasing, like dogs will start chasing you, or the level will be filled with boats, and like you can get these power-ups, which are basically fruits, and like those fruits would do different things, like drop watermelons from the sky. You can like swing some sort of fruit at the other players, and it just gets really wacky, really weird, and Subarashi. We have basically 3 more games that we would like to talk about. First one is another weird game, and this one's by Q Games, and it's by Sticky Bodies. It's for the mobile platform.
Yeah, I only saw it from far behind, but
basically you have these people falling from the sky, and you're trying to chain them together by swiping right or left. and your goal is to land in someone's mouth.
Sounds relatable.
So the first time I played it, like I got really lucky, and I got actually a really high score, like that really like impressed the developer. And then the second time, I just failed miserably.
So you think it may be a little bit luck based?
Well, not a little bit luck based. Like there's things I did the second time that I wish I didn't do.
Okay.
Like I was trying to chase after a lot more bodies, and
okay.
like I was really like trying to push myself more and more. But it seems like a great title that to just like play for like 5 minutes. And then the other mobile title that Q Games showed was Eating Obscura.
Yes, which was actually released, or not released, but the release date was announced recently.
Yep.
It's coming out this Friday.
Yes, it's coming out this Friday.
It's actually for free.
Yep.
And what you have to do in this game is basically you have a character or creature.
It's like if you've played the other eating games, it's very similar to that.
Sadly, no. Sadly,
What?
no.
I thought
no.
no. Okay. Well, basically you're trying to pollinate the world by collecting the pollen, and then you use that to grow out the levels and try to complete the emblem in order to complete the garden.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's just a continuation of.
I think that's very similar to Eden, isn't it?
I mean, it feels you just described the earlier games.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly the description for this latest title, but with a twist. Instead of just presenting already an art style or graphics, you have to go with your mobile camera around and capture colors, your surroundings, and the colors and surroundings based are always changing, and it makes a very interesting mobile game.
Yeah, like there's some parts where you have to actually go and collect certain colors, and that will help you unlock certain things. So we have a preview. We have the full game, I think, as a preview, and we might be doing a review of that.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that. And we also talked with Dylan from Q Games about these games and more. And we also played Pixel Junk Monsters 2, which on the Switch.
Yes. Which was, I mean, yeah.
It's like a tower defense game mixed with
very
action.
unique art style.
I really like the just transition between the top down to
smooth. It was very smooth.
The top down to the side. It was just super smooth, and it was beautiful. The last game that we'd like to talk about is Luna Triple X, and Luna Triple X is a game that we checked out first at Tokyo Game Show, and the developer behind that, Pygmy Studios, they've been really quiet about it since Tokyo Game Show. They're showing it now again for the first time, and it looks great. It really does look great. It looks like a lot of the things that they need to improve, it has been improved now. I think they're still focused mainly on the Japanese release, but we'll see if it comes to the West.
I hope so. It would be a shame if it's just stuck on one country.
Yeah. But so if you want to learn more about Luna Triple X, we'll have the interview in the description below. So yeah, we have a lot of interviews that you can go ahead and check out and learn more about these games. So remember to stay tuned for all the information straight from the source on source-gaming.com. And bye. Bye.